Welcome to our next episode number 3 of Digilize Lab. We got a lot of things to talk about again. Unfortunately, no sun. It is quite depressing again, but yet we're coming from a high. Good sunshine days.
Can't complain.
Yeah, I guess so.
Actually, but now we're back to the normal Dutch weather, I would say. The 5 days, I think there were in total. Pure sunshine. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here. But
anyway,
I love how we always start our podcast because we don't know what to talk about with the weather. It's the same like having a small talk with a person you don't know. What should I talk about?
Yeah, but it's great today.
Yeah, we have really good weather tonight. Yeah, that's true. Literally.
Okay, then let's start with the biggest news. What did Jensen Huang say?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, he said we achieved AGI, or he thinks that we achieved AGI.
Crazy hot take. I mean, to be honest, wasn't there different CEOs that also already mentioned it, or was it the first one that really kind of pushed the topic?
No, there were a few people who said that we will reach AGI in the next 5-6 months, whatever, but no one said yet, I believe, that we reached AGI.
Especially not
and
such
especially
a high
who
figure
said,
in a way.
Yeah, true.
So maybe not everyone knows who he is, to be honest.
He is the CEO of NVIDIA, and I think also the founder, one of the founders.
I believe so.
Yeah.
One of the co-founders.
Yeah, he started it with a few friends in Wendy's. No, in some.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it was actually a really nice story. But they met they met up in a restaurant or bar or whatever.
Fancy.
To start NVIDIA, and they had, I think.
Is that why he always goes eating chicken wings?
Yeah. That is exactly that place.
That's why?
And they had a meeting, I think,
sense.
this year or last year, where they met up again
with
in the same table.
Yeah,
exactly.
With SoftBank, and they had the.
So actually, really nice story. Yeah.
But who do you think has it?
I think there is only one correct answer for that one. Who is launching a new tool and destroying a new business every Tuesday?
Oh, to be honest, you're thinking of Anthropic.
Yeah, of course.
But
you're thinking of Google.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, they've been lagging behind heavily in the AI wars, like not in the piece, like in, let's say 6 months ago.
Not as bad as Apple.
Since then, they're pushing one tool after the other. Look at Google Stitch, and what we talked about last time. Look at, there's a million tools. I also got a couple of hot takes from Google this round. Like, I couldn't decide between both of them. Maybe they both cracked it, but just don't tell anyone.
I just want to say, maybe they cracked it together. Because
I mean, is also, what is AGI? Like when did we? There's benchmarks on it, but let's say we reached 100% on that benchmark that some guy invented, and we reached AGI. I don't know.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think in the interview he also says that most of the systems are extremely capable that we already have. So on that takes, he says we already have AGI, but yet the systems are still far behind building a company like NVIDIA, for example, autonomously.
Get it?
Not really possible.
True, he said that yesterday as well, no? That or 2 days ago, that he wouldn't think, or he doesn't think that any AI model could build a company like NVIDIA.
Yeah. I guess AGI is also...
Not yet.
The question is, what's
the
hurdle, you know? What's in between, what doesn't work yet? What couldn't it do?
Wait, first of all, the Jensen
aspect,
Jensen Huang. I mean, the phrase that we just said, or the hot take we took out of the podcast that he did with Lex Friedman. Quickly to round it up, and I only listened, I sadly didn't listen it completely through, but 1.5 hours I'm in, so I haven't reached the point where he says, I think we reached AGI, but there were a few things that he touched on before, and one of the things is we are now not only limited at the scaling law for one AI agent, but rather like we were bottlenecked a few years ago with scaling with humans. So basically the management of humans was or needed to be developed in order to get to a further point and stuff like that. And he said that we are right now at the same point but with AI agents, because one AI agent or with a few agents, the systems are already really good, but there is that swarm intelligence that is missing and different perspectives, different agents or humans, and then that scaling part. So how you manage actually AI agents on a scale, that is the next hurdle, I would say, in order to achieve something where NVIDIA could have been invented by AI agents. I still don't think that it could have been, because the human intuition and how Jensen Huang steers the company and all of that.
Yeah, I think that's the missing kind of link.
Yeah,
but it can emulate how humans kind of think and act.
Exactly, but you still don't have that touch or that gut feeling, I would almost say.
I guess
but
there also needs to be someone who pays for the compute and everything else, right? I mean,
it could be the model. Like if the company earns money under the CEO being Anthropic's Claude or whatever.
well, from the bottom all the way up, 100%. Yeah.
In a way, but yeah, it's interesting
Everything is possible,
to think
I guess.
about.
No.
No, interesting topic for sure. Let's see how it goes.
OpenAI kills Sora. What do you guys think about that?
Didn't hear of it yet. I just heard from it earlier.
I actually love it.
Yeah, so just to round it up again.
I mean, it just took the loss, no?
I guess so, but the Sora is OpenAI's image and video generation app. They launched, I think, a couple months or a year ago, maybe?
I think like 4 months.
I think Sora 1 was released a year ago, almost. But the Sora 2, the actual model that is
really picked up.
Yeah, that is getting used or being used was, I think, 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
So already old,
but quite interesting, because there was a huge hype, right? When they launched it, it was I still remember seeing all the
of
videos.
Instagram was full of those Sora kind of
badge
watermarks.
Yes.
The first day was full of watermarks. The second day, someone released a Sora watermark remover. Everything was gone. Thanks.
True.
Yeah, but then Google came in with Nano Banana. I think it wasn't called Nano Banana back. It was Flash 3.5 based on whatever. I don't even know.
Is that already a year ago? No, that was more than a year.
It was after Sora got released, that I'm quite sure about, but I would have to check on the rest.
But the app itself, I think, was released a year ago.
Could be. But I think Sora 2 was the point where it really picked up, because then it was actually usable.
And most
actually.
of the people that had a Plus subscription of ChatGPT could use it, and that was the adoption. That was why there were so many thingies.
It probably cutting costs in a way, because it's a shit ton of compute.
I think it's just also shows in what kind of trouble OpenAI is.
They are.
I mean, they had the code red couple months, like 2 or 3 months ago. And I think this just shows, they're not making enough money. I mean, image and especially video generation. How much losses do they make
a year?
I don't know.
Way too much. Even with all of the revenue that they have, quite a bit of revenue, to be honest.
But the video generation is extremely expensive in terms of compute.
That's what I think. That is just cost cutting.
Yeah. I mean, and they also, I don't know if you guys remember, but they scored a big deal with Disney right at the start, where you could use their Disney characters with Sora. So you could
never saw a video though on Instagram ever with, or maybe that's just me.
I think they were in talks, but I think the deal didn't get through, or the deal was over the next few years or something. But I'm also not really sure about that one. It was a while ago. But do you guys actually think that it was because of compute, or because to save money, or?
I think it's cost cutting. I don't know. I can just imagine that video generation is, as Tim already said, hella expensive, like compute heavy. And I don't know how many people actually still use Sora, to be honest. So hard to say.
Yeah, but maybe also.
Maybe it's just pivoting.
I actually have in my notes, Sora's team is shifting towards word simulation for robotics. So they're probably also pivoting to humanoid robots. And I guess it kind of it all comes together with the code red they recently had,
probably they're pivoting.
OpenAI has huge problems with usage. Currently, everyone is kind of shifting to Anthropic. And
what was the hashtag? Quit GPT. Love it.
The whole military story.
I think that shows exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's getting more serious.
What did I tell you about I don't remember. It was like 20, basically they always had like a 50-50 split on enterprise customers, like OpenAI and Anthropic. But since that whole military kind of debate and OpenAI stepping in and that Quit GPT kind of movement happened, it switched to being 75% Anthropic market share and 25% OpenAI, which is quite a big deal in a couple of weeks. Like in 2 or 3 weeks, it completely moved around. So that movement was real, especially in enterprise. I would have thought it's just B2C.
Yeah. I mean, they had big or I don't think it was a big protest, but in front of the headquarters, the office of Anthropic, the morning after they announced that they are going back from the deal with DoD, and they were all hearts and nice messages with Kreide, with chalk.
On, I can imagine that people like it. Like, obviously, it's not a bad and not a nice look if something like what happened there in the war, technically. But and then OpenAI steps in. Like, of course, we're happy to provide our model.
It is fun for me to see because I mean I'm using Claude way more than Chat, to be honest.
Same.
Because it's for me a nicer architecture, feels better, whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see that engages people more to shifting than actually the better quality of the output. You know? Because, I mean, Claude Anthropic was before there, and OpenAI too. OpenAI were the first mover. Okay, they had more and more market share. But then when they had the 50-50 split, and then because of the deal, they get a 25% decline of users in the enterprise.
I think what is also interesting in that is, or the underlying is that how fast everything is moving. Not only the tools and AI as such is moving fast, but that also translate into the user somehow. I mean, what you just said.
You have to move fast to keep up. Like, if you actually,
Yeah, but also the loyalty is not really there, right? Everyone used OpenAI.
True.
I mean, the first year I only used OpenAI. I didn't use Anthropic at all, Claude.
Same.
I mean, I tried it out, but it wasn't there yet. And now it's the other way around. I always use Claude and other models, but I rarely use OpenAI.
Well, for me, to be honest, that's because of quality. It wasn't even like way before the movement happened and stuff. It's just because Claude, for me, outputs a better quality output.
Yeah, but I think it also shows of how fragile everything is a little bit, like, and there's also like these trends again, like how social media can influence type of
hot take. I think that is also, first of all, really interesting observation with the mindset and not really the loyalty. Sure. But I also think that because it's such a new thing that people haven't made up their mind yet, because you see OpenAI did, on one hand they say they're doing whatnot, and on the other hand they are doing the exact opposite of that. So the users or the people that are actually using AI don't know who to trust.
Interesting to compare that to other
trends
like this mega trends back in the day. I unfortunately have no insights in that, but it'd be interesting to see if there is parallels or if this is something new.
True.
For me it's quite similar to the movement of, for example, Tesla recently, like where basically Tesla was being hated on in the US and all of the Teslas were like lit on fire and stuff. There was also fully social media induced, and even Trump had to say, guys, calm down. So I don't know if it's new, but it is, like, obviously it's new because social media is still, I would say, new.
But still, I think the model quality is there also a really big thing, and especially because people didn't choose their I don't know, favorite yet. Because I chose my favorite car brand when I was 6 or something. Because influenced by my parents.
Also an interesting hot take, actually, because many companies have invested heavily into already picking up marketing basically to children, so that those children, when they grow up,
super smart,
always stick to that brand, BMW, whatever. And it's not only car brands; it's different kinds of. And I think that doesn't work in that.
Yeah, but not yet. Not yet. I think that we will be definitely there in a few years, where the models are basically almost all the same. They have a good intelligence. Exactly. Once they are aligned, and then you have the little minor things.
Will there be like a ceiling? Probably.
I think not a ceiling for the technology on its own, but a ceiling for the understanding of the human and how fast or how good you can interact with AI agents. Because I believe in a few years the AI agents will outpace us. And you see it already. If I have 4 Claude Code instances running, then I'm running behind the AI and not the AI behind me, basically. True. And there is then the bottleneck is the human or the human computation.
You can spin up endless teams. Obviously, then at some point you're lagging behind, or you need new agents that just orchestrate.
But
that is then exactly that point again where Jensen Huang said, okay, if you now scale up the agents, how do you manage those agents? Because you can spin up 1 million agents in 1 minute, but they all produce an output. They all need an input in order to do something. And then how do you orchestrate all of that data that comes in at one point? Yeah, exactly. But do you have then one orchestrator agent? Is one orchestrator agent already too little for 100 agents?
Set up currently. You don't have to use that hierarchy in agents, of course, but you can. You can technically say there's one CEO main orchestrator, there's one COO, and then there's teams below those. Or you use a Spotify model or whatever.
Also, just wanted to say, I think the school branded us with a Spotify model.
Kind of, but that will be interesting. There's also many companies I see recently that pop up. They kind of build or they promise different ways of how in the future we will interact with AI. And then it's not, of course, chat windows like every bigger company does nowadays, but for example, Link, they're building a platform that you can integrate it into, I don't know, social media, WhatsApp or whatever. Then you can obviously like Telegram or whatever, just send messages to the orchestrator and the rest is being done in the background. But I don't know if that's the future, we'll see. Could be just a intermediate.
Interesting times ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
Yeah. But yeah, I have one or two things on Stack or Skip if you don't want to.
Let's go.
Yeah. First one, obviously, I told you guys earlier about it. Google released a new, quite cool tool for us, TurboQuant it's called. And basically, how I understand it, it's brand new. Basically, it manages or allows you to summarize or to kind of, how would you say it?
Quantize.
Yeah, quantize your context window size by 6 times or 8 times. I believe it's 8 times actually. Yeah, and delivers up to 8 times faster attention performance. So basically, meaning the model stays exactly as kind of
the quality
smart as it was. The quality stays, but the context window doesn't take up that much VRAM anymore. So in a sense, you can run bigger models on smaller kind of hardware sizes and smaller devices. But of course, it's not limited. The model size, as you probably want to mention, is still the same. That can't be quantized yet. And
so they kind of just introduced like a zip file, right, for LLMs?
In a way, yeah. In a way, it summarizes way more efficient than we had that technology already. Like even Cursor, all of those vibe coding tools, they all used it to summarize in between the context. But then you always knew afterwards that stuff was summarized. You always knew, like you saw that the agent doesn't know anything anymore. It forgets stuff, and then it makes mistakes. But in this, at least what they promised, I didn't try it yet, is that won't happen. That it's 8 times more efficient than what was here until now, but the model would
shows again that the area of local AI and local LLM infrastructure and private infrastructure is definitely in the uprise.
Yeah,
I mean, back to Jensen Huang, he said it in the GTC. The relation to the Apple iconic scene where he says we're gonna put a computer in your pocket. Yeah. Basically the same.
That's
but now the computer is an AI model.
Yeah.
And that handles basically everything that the phone or whatnot did.
Yeah, even for phones it's interesting, especially interesting because you can run models on phones quite well now.
Super awesome.
Especially with the Gamma models, etc., or Quen, the new ones. But what I wanted to add is what I didn't really understand until I read it now. The speed up time, like the load up time when you use, for example, Llama Swap, when you switch between models is 8 times faster as well, because it doesn't need to inject that much context window. It's also less tokens, of course, but it doesn't need to inject that much context data anymore into every prompt, especially on startup. And
smart.
Also 8 times faster. Interesting, right?
Crazy,
We have to play around with it.
I haven't thought about that one, but of course.
Plus, they open sourced it, which is also amazing, of course. Best for credibility of a company, to be honest. But please go on Google and different providers, just open source stuff, because they could have gatekeep that for themselves. Sure. They probably built it for themselves, but... I mean, again, you see how big of an impact OpenClaw is, and I think that was a good step also for the OpenAI or open source community in AI.
On that note, I came across something on Twitter the other day, or on X, as Elon likes to call it. It's more like a meme thing, but deathbycloud.com. Do you see that?
A website?
Yeah.
devbycloud.com.
Yeah.
That's also nice.
So it's
Don't tell me it's like OpenClaw hiring Hitman or something.
no, not quite
Sounds
yet.
like it, to be honest.
But a website which basically gives you a detailed scores and does like a deep research on. So you put in, it's just an input field. You put in a industry or job, a description, and then it will tell you, give you a score of how likely the chances are that Cloudbot will take, and then it also gives you indication of how long it will take.
So it's like those AI taking a job benchmarks thingies, like those statistics, but even more incorrect because.
And it will also tell you when.
I think it is based on the research that Anthropic launched, I think 3 weeks ago, because they did exactly that. They made the spider web graph where they say which industry will be mostly impacted of the new knowledge worker era, whatever.
Yeah.
But take a look. It's definitely a skip, but it's a fun meme thing. But it also gives you the indication of how long Cloudbot thinks it will take
to replace that.
Yeah, it will replace the human in that sense.
True, but wait. We have to. Google is definitely a
stack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be honest, we have to test it. It literally came out this morning.
I saw it.
But from what they promise, and I also read that it doesn't need any training, it doesn't need any fine-tuning, it's literally plug and play, at least from what Google promises. And that sounds like it's not like one of those flashy demos that we see on a daily basis, but it's actually something useful if you, of course, work in that space. Wow.
I think we will take a deeper look and then
just
we can
to say,
update
next episode
links.
we can mention. But I think it's a stack, yeah, for sure.
Cool.
But I also like the website, because I feel like sometimes
interesting, yeah.
Most of the times AI or the people use AI to make money, to make more efficiency and stuff. But sometimes take a step back. It can also be fun.
Just
this
vibe code something in 10 minutes and throw it out there.
I also saw something in that kind of meme space era. There is a website where you think you chat with an LLM, but you basically on the other side, there's a human. So you can go onto that website, you can choose if you want to be a user or the LLM, and then you have basically one user texts the LLM and the other user is the LLM.
If he's texting an LLM or a user, what?
No, they
would
don't.
Be the perfect way to kind of do that.
You're not supposed to ask the hard question.
Exactly. that was again a wipe coded thingy, but it's super
test,
fun.
You know, like it wasn't for AI, of course, but it was like I don't know what the name was. But I have to look it up. But it was basically of if the person could realize that he's talking to, it was not an AI, but in that sense it would be an AI or not. And in that way it would be the perfect test. Sometimes it's a human and sometimes it's a bot.
Yeah.
And you don't know.
I think that website is more on the fun page, because you have then a timer. As soon as someone sends you a message, you have, I think, 60 seconds to answer, and people can also basically let an image generate. And then you sit there with your mouse and like the draw IO thingy times, you just draw a little horse or something and then send it back to the other user. It is user against user, but one thinks it's an LLM and the other, I need to look up the URL, but that is what I mean. Sometimes also just have fun with it.
For sure.
Sick.
But yeah, sorry, another tool that we have in Stack and Skip, pardon.
To be honest, for me, there was the Google Quant was the biggest.
But I'm very surprised that I haven't heard anything from Sebi.
True.
Is there not? I mean, you probably use so many tools this week.
To be honest, I haven't.
Top of your mind.
Still AutoResearch. AutoResearch is still the tool that keeps me up at night. Yeah. I think even in the first one, that was just when it came out. Okay. Super awesome, and what people are using it for, that's exactly what I meant. People are not only using it for reinforcement learning, for what it actually is being was developed, but rather to optimize everything. You just need basically an algorithm or a way how you want to do something, and then you need a KPI at the end, what you need or want to increase.
Like a goal?
Exactly, a goal, a task.
And just let it run for however long.
Let it run, yeah.
I actually have to play around with it as well.
Yeah, exactly. It is super awesome, but I haven't had enough time for that.
But is it just me, or does that also underlines again the local LLM trend?
For sure.
It does.
But it also tells you, especially because, I mean, the the founder of AutoResearch, or the creator of the repo, I should rather say, is a legend in the AI world. And if he uses already AI in order to train his own AI, I mean, there is already the big step into the right direction. And then we touched up on MiniMax last week about how fast their development cycle is, or not development, but release cycle. And that is what I found out. What they are basically using in the background is AutoResearch. They are scheduling 30 to 50%, or not scheduling, but 30 to 50% of their reinforcement learning loop goes not to a human anymore, but rather to an agent.
Yeah.
And that is how they could exponential cut their training time of their models in half. It is crazy. There's a super nice chart. MiniMax M 2.0, if I'm not wrong, was 3 months.
2.7 is the newest, right?
Yeah, 2.7 is the newest. And they started with the AutoResearch loop, basically, with 2.7. That is why they're so fast.
Nice.
But in the basic of the architecture of the LLM, they're all the same. That is also the fun part. They are all 1 trillion parameters. They are all the same MOE architecture. So mixed, basically, that not all of the weights are activated in every run.
Mind me again, which model was not MOE? Is it Google's model?
No, I believe so.
One of them is completely different architecture. That's what I remember. Next episode, I have
it down. Yeah, but that is the fun part. They are all the same. But they just started with a basic architecture and then tried to find loops or ways on how to iterate way faster than the competition. Yep. And also, it's not a trade-off with the quality. The quality, each point is way better.
Oh, fair.
That is crazy, and especially if you compare it to Claude. Claude flats out nowadays because they're taking so long, and I don't know what they're doing. Maybe developed AGI, who knows? But MiniMax is... The release cycle gets way less, and the model quality gets so up. It is crazy how good and how fast they're moving forward.
Perfect, yeah.
And especially also open source. So
it's actually interesting at the bigger players. Like it's a small company compared to the rest. But now I have a debate question that fits perfectly to it. It's basically basically what wins in 2026, and it's the company who has the smartest model, or the company who has the best stack around the model. So let's say, for example, Google, in my opinion, has a crazy stack around their Gemini models. They have Nano Banana, they have Veo 3.1 now. Like they have all of those models that are integrated into Gemini.
I think the biggest part is not what you're saying with the different models, but Google has the data, Google has the machines, Google has the knowledge and the talents with DeepMind. That is already the complete cluster what they have. And other labs like Anthropic or a smaller Mistral that are also really
Yeah, they don't have it, of course.
They don't have that possibility.
Yeah, but the bigger players also try to kind of buy in the data, you know. Obviously, they did already. And especially if you look at Alexa or whatever, there was probably in preparation to just get the data in advance. Nowadays, no one is really using it anymore, but
you were going somewhere. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, I actually forgot about it. But
with the models, the combination, if Google with a broader system.
I mean, it was part of it. Yeah, no, just which kind of thing wins? Like the company who has the smartest model, just the model, or the company who has the full stack around it that makes it actually usable, actually interesting.
I think we need to go.
But by a stack, you mean like integrations or?
In a way,
even more technical.
Like tools you can use. For example, if you go into the Gemini app, you see immediately image generation, you see video generation, you see all of those tools that are kind of integrated.
On the phone app?
Also, yeah.
Because I think their interface is horrible.
Yeah, that's a different discussion.
Every time I'm on Gemini, I'm just like, ooh, let's go back to Perplexity or whatever. But
fair enough. Perplexity is lovely, but
it's horrible. Yeah. I only use it for image generation, to be honest.
No,
do you guys use Gemini?
Only for image and video generation, to be honest.
No, I actually use it quite often.
Yeah? For which kind of...
I still think big text summarization...
Okay, context
way
window.
To go.
Fair enough.
I mean, nowadays almost everyone has a million, but
if you use the models through Perplexity, I'm quite sure you're limited to 200K or something.
Oh.
Because just they limited.
Yeah,
But to be honest, don't mark my words on that one. I have to check it.
Yeah, that could be that Anthropic, sometimes they don't give you the full thing because it's actually really hard.
Cursor, especially, it's if you don't have the max subscription.
But I still feel like for that price, especially how cheap that one is on OpenRouter. Yeah, for now, on OpenRouter.
Also a hot take, by the way.
True. On OpenRouter, and it's super fast. It summarizes my text good. The only thing is I don't like the formatting, but that is
okay. That can be.
I mean, playing around with the different things.
Yeah. Do you guys know the company Fauna Robotics?
No. I heard something about them.
I think they are the ones who do like also humanoid robots, but I think smaller ones. I have to look it up. I have dangerous half knowledge right now.
Wait, perfect thing. I found a website yesterday, humanoidrobots.diy, where someone has actually listed up all of the humanoid robot companies. There's a rating system, so you can rate them. And he also has a...
What's it called?
Humanoidrobots.diy, if I'm not mistaken. Or humanoid.diy or something. Yeah, you will find it. But he also shows basically the outline of a humanoid robot, and you can learn basically about it. Super interesting. And I believe they were also mentioned in that one, but I don't know more about them.
I love how I can just sit here, and just type in TechCrunch, and I just see Google launches. There are 3 pro music generation model.
They go into that direction quite a bit. I tried it once to make like a jingle or something, but they do quite a bit. Like it's actually a big topic. Like if you look at Spotify, for example, you see so many artists that are officially, of course, not AI, but if you actually look into it and their Instagram presence and social media presence, which is also fully AI generated, they sometimes have 4, 5, 6 different million users or like listeners monthly. I don't know. I even read like an article about it that the biggest 3 or 4 of them, if you actually dig into the files, it's the same guy behind them, which just makes probably a shit ton of money doing
for real
fake music, which I guess it's still like, I don't know, it's a debate we can have. I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, if it has 4 million users and people don't even believe that it's AI generated, I guess it's good music for some people.
You know what I heard last week? That is also in regards with Spotify and making money in that sense. Darknet Diaries, also really nice podcast. Shout out, super nice.
Yeah,
you showed it to me. It's okay. you can get your.
Thank you. I feel much better now. Actually, thank you
credits.
Very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks to my cousin who showed it to me a couple years ago.
Further credits.
Yeah, but actually, what I think it was one of the newest episodes where he explained how people are actually pushing money through Spotify. Oh yeah. But
like in which
smart.
sense?
They are pushing. They're washing money. They are for bad
smart.
groups and all of that stuff, because they are all based on the clicks per or the listening minutes.
So they basically just have they have an AI artist, right? They publish music, then I guess they have like a bot farm or something like that, and they just farm money.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
And it is a
smart,
huge market.
I saw that recently in a documentary.
People are pushing a fuck ton of money around there. And you as a normal person that uses Spotify every day, I didn't even think about that.
I think the biggest one is called Sierra something.
You have everything, yeah.
Sierra something is like the biggest kind of AI, of course not AI officially, but if you actually look at, like, there's Instagram videos where just 5 fingers disappear or something in the middle of the video. So obviously she's not real and she's never been seen and she wants to go on tour next week. Good luck. So we'll see. Or next year, I don't even know. That's not going to happen.
How nice. Making money with that.
Nothing. Yeah, basically with nothing. You can automate that perfectly.
Just a really good base prompt.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The file of multiple identities and so on, and how the crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that was most of my biggest topics for
this week. Yeah.
If you guys have anything else?
No. I think besides
We'll round it up.
we apparently achieved AGI and sort
There's
of
some
being,
big topics this
being
week, to be honest.
axed
I think we
right
actually
down.
need to do the AGI episode soon.
Yeah, maybe
That
we'll
is,
do a special episode on AGI specifically.
Sure, maybe we can introduce one of our first guests then.
Yeah.
Might be a good opportunity.
True.
These guys give us some feedback on the podcast,
As always.
as you know. And I think that's pretty much it, right?
Sounds
Do we have
like it.
anything else?
No, not for this week.
Well,
Until next week.
yes, we enjoy you. We hope you enjoy your week. Keep building and peace.
Have fun.